In this day and age, there are approximately 35 Turkic languages spoken by around 200 million people in a vast area. If you're wondering why there isn't a specific number of Turkic languages but approximately 35, it's because the distinction between a dialect and a language varies depending on who you ask. In this video, we will cover all of the Turkic languages, following an order from the most to least commonly spoken ones. Grab your coffee or tea, lean back, and let's dive into the Turkic world. Turkish, my native language, is the most widely spoken Turkic language worldwide. Primarily spoken by Turks, many other groups also use it as a native or secondary language. In addition to Turks, Turkish-speaking groups include all ethnic minorities in Turkey and Turkish diaspora or communities outside of Turkey. Minorities in Turkey include Kurds, Laz, Circassians, Jews, Armenians, Greeks, Albanians, Bulgarians, Zazas, and others. There are Turkish-speaking communities in Bulgaria, Greece, Macedonia, Kosovo, Moldova, Iraq, Syria, and Northern Cyprus. Additionally, the Turkish diaspora in countries such as Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Sweden, the UK, the US, Canada, and others widely speak Turkish. Out of the 7,000 languages spoken today across the globe, Turkish ranks 17th in the total number of speakers and continues to spread steadily. Now let's examine the language profile, a term I coined for this video. Turkish has used the Latin alphabet since 1928. Between 90 to 100 million people worldwide speak Turkish as either a native or secondary language. Turkish belongs to the Oghuz branch of the Turkic language family. Its status is safe, meaning it's not endangered. Uzbek is the most widely spoken Turkic language in Central Asia. It is primarily spoken by the Uzbek people, a Turkic group inhabiting Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan. Like many Turkic people and Turkic-speaking groups, it's not easy to give an exact number for the population. Therefore, we have to rely on data from different sources. The population of Uzbekistan is 36 million, 29 million of whom are ethnic Uzbeks who naturally speak Uzbek as a native language. The rest consists of minorities like the Tajiks, Kazakhs, Karakalpaks, Kyrgyz, Russians, and others who mostly speak Uzbek as a second language. Outside Uzbekistan, the highest Uzbek population can be found in Afghanistan, where 8 to 11% of the country's population consists of Uzbeks, which totals around 4 million people. In both Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, the Uzbek population is around 1 million. If we combine the Uzbeks in Kazakhstan, Russia, Turkmenistan, and Pakistan, we have an additional population of close to 2 million Uzbeks. Now let's take a look at the language profile of Uzbek. Today, the Latin script is officially used to write Uzbek. The total number of Uzbek speakers is between 35 to 45 million. It belongs to the Karluk branch of the Turkic languages. Due to its high number of speakers, it's categorized as safe. Azerbaijani is spoken by the Azerbaijani people and is the official language of Azerbaijan. However, the highest number of Azerbaijani speakers is not in Azerbaijan, but in Iran. The population of Azerbaijan is around 10 million, which corresponds to the number of Azerbaijani speakers in the country. In Iran, Azerbaijani people make up the largest ethnic group by far, with a population varying between 15 to 25 million people depending on the source. The Azerbaijanis in Iran primarily inhabit the northwest lands of the country, indicating that the Azerbaijanis are scattered homogeneously throughout this region. Azerbaijani is also spoken by the Azerbaijani minority in eastern Turkey, though there is no exact number for the population of Azerbaijani people in the country. According to the 2014 population census, there are around 230,000 Azerbaijanis living in southern Georgia, where they also speak Azerbaijani. Other prominent Azerbaijani groups can be found in Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Germany, and the US. Azerbaijani is officially written in the Latin script in Azerbaijan, but in Iran the Arabic script is mostly used. In total, there are between 25 to 35 million Azerbaijani speakers. This language belongs to the Oghuz branch of the Turkic language family and is documented as safe, as it's widely spoken by millions. Uyghur is the fourth most spoken Turkic language. It is spoken by the Uyghur people, the most populous Turkic group without a country. Uyghur people predominantly inhabit the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of Western China, whose population is around 11.7 million according to the 2020 population census. In addition, there are small pockets in the neighboring countries where the Uyghurs live. In Kazakhstan, there are around 200,000 Uyghurs, and in Turkey, the Uyghur population is around 50,000. Pakistan also has a high Uyghur population, which is close to 200,000. However, the common perception is that the Uyghurs in Pakistan are much more integrated into society and mostly speak Urdu. Therefore, it's not easy to get an accurate number about the Uyghur presence in this country. Today, Uyghurs are the second largest minority in China. Unfortunately, the Uyghur population in the country is living under extensive pressure by the Chinese government. Especially in the last few years, the assimilation policy aimed towards the Uyghurs is imposing severe restrictions on their religious, cultural, economic, and social lives. It is presumed that close to 1 million Uyghurs are currently being detained in labor camps in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. In these camps, officially called Vocational Education and Training Centers by the Chinese government, abominable horrors against the Uyghurs take place. In these camps, the detained Uyghurs are required to sing hymns praising the Chinese Communist Party and write self-criticism essays. Other camp policies include forced labor, suppression of Islamic religious practices, political indoctrination, severe ill treatment both physically and verbally, forced sterilization, forced abortion, prohibition of the Uyghur language, and separating minors from their families. Thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of Uyghur kids who are separated from their parents are put in boarding schools where they are obligated to adapt to the Chinese language, customs, and way of thinking, and forced to forget their Uyghurness. As a result, this has a serious negative impact on the Uyghur language, passing on to younger generations. Uyghur is written in the Arabic script. Around 13 million people speak this language in total. It belongs to the Karluk branch of the Turkic languages. Although it has a high number of speakers due to the reasons I've mentioned earlier, the Uyghur language is classified as critically endangered, which is the last stage before a language dies. Kazakh is spoken by the Kazakh people, a Turkic group primarily inhabiting Kazakhstan. In addition, Kazakh is spoken in surrounding countries such as Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Russia, and China. According to the 2021 census, Kazakhstan's population is 19.6 million, and 80% of the Kazakh nation is recorded to speak Kazakh as a native or second language. China is home to the largest Kazakh community outside of Kazakhstan, with more than 1.5 million Kazakhs. Uzbekistan has around 800,000 and Russia has around 500,000 Kazakhs. In Mongolia, the Kazakhs are the largest minority with around 100,000 people, making up close to the 3% of the country's population. Kazakh is currently written with Cyrillic letters, however the government has announced a transition process from Cyrillic to Latin script for the Kazakh language. As of May 2024, the deadline for this transition is 2025. The total number of Kazakh speakers across the world is around 19 million. Kazakh belongs to the Kipchak branch. Its status is vulnerable. Before we move on to the next language, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider leaving a like and comment and subscribing to this channel. Thank you. The Turkmen language is spoken by the Turkmen people. The Turkmens are among the most populous groups of Turkic people with a population of approximately 8 million. 4 million of Turkmens live in Turkmenistan. 1.7 to 2 million Turkmens live in the northeast of Iran on the border with Turkmenistan. In Afghanistan, between 2 to 3% of the population speaks Turkmen, which is around 1.2 million people. The third largest community of Turkmens outside of Turkmenistan is in Uzbekistan. In these small pockets on the southern borders of the country, Turkmen is spoken by a little more than 150,000 Turkmen people. Turkmen uses the Latin script today. In the past, like most of the Turkic languages that were spoken within the borders of the Soviet Union, Turkmen also used the Cyrillic script. Today, the Turkmen alphabet that is officially used was created by taking inspiration from the Turkish alphabet. The total number of Turkmen speakers in the world today is between 7 to 8 million people. Turkmen belongs to the Oghuz branch of the Turkic languages, which means that it is closer to Turkish and Azerbaijani. The status of Turkmen is vulnerable. Tatar is spoken by the Tatar people, who are the second largest ethnic group in Russia after the Russians. The Tatar population in Russia is approximately 4.7 million people. The Tatars primarily inhabit the Republic of Tatarstan in western Russia. In addition, they also live in the Republic of Bashkortostan, which is another republic in Russia that borders Tatarstan. Smaller Tatar groups are scattered across other regions of Russia, primarily Moscow. As you might surmise, these are the areas where Tatar is commonly spoken. Tatar officially uses the Cyrillic script, however the Latin alphabet is also used at times. The total number of Tatar speakers is between 5 to 6 million people, including the Tatars in Russia and other Tatars who live in small pockets in the surrounding countries. It belongs to the Kipchak language branch, meaning that it's closer to Turkic languages such as Kazakh and Kyrgyz. Kyrgyz is the official language of Kyrgyzstan. It is primarily spoken by the Kyrgyz people in Kyrgyzstan, but there are also groups of Kyrgyz speakers in Uzbekistan, China, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and Afghanistan. However, the Kyrgyz population in Afghanistan is a very small part of the population. It is estimated that around 1,000 Kyrgyz people live in the northeast mountains of the country. Unfortunately, I was not able to find any reliable data on what percentage of those 1,000 Kyrgyz people speak the Kyrgyz language. The Kyrgyz language that is spoken in Kyrgyzstan officially uses the Cyrillic script. However, in China and Afghanistan, the Arabic script is used to write this language. 4.5 million people speak Kyrgyz as a first or second language. Kyrgyz belongs to the Kipchak branch and its status is vulnerable. With 1.3 million speakers, Bashkir is the third most commonly spoken minority language in Russia after Tatar and Chechen. It is spoken by the Bashkir people, who, as you might imagine, also constitute the third largest minority group in Russia. Today, the Bashkirs primarily inhabit the Republic of Bashkortostan, which is one of the republics within the Russian Federation. Currently, there are a little more than 2 million Bashkirs in the world. 75% of the total Bashkir population lives in Russia, and the rest are scattered around the globe, mainly in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Bashkir uses the Cyrillic script. The total number of Bashkir speakers in the world is 1.3 million, so virtually all Bashkir speakers live in Russia. Bashkir belongs to the Kipchak branch of Turkic languages, so it is closer to Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and Tatar. The status of the Bashkir language is vulnerable. And we're continuing with language 10, the Chuvash language. Spoken by the Chuvash people who live in the Chuvash Republic of Western Russia, this language is the fifth most spoken language in the country with around 1.1 million speakers. Also, the Chuvash people are the fourth largest minority group in Russia. According to the 2021 census, the Chuvash population in Russia is 1.06 million, which is pretty close to the total number of Chuvash speakers. Unlike most of the Turkic groups in this region, the Chuvash are predominantly Orthodox. The Chuvash language has a very unique place among the Turkic languages. The Turkic language family branches look like this. We have Proto-Turkic, which is the starting point of all Turkic languages. Proto-Turkic is divided into two branches, Common Turkic and Ogur. All of the Turkic languages in this video, except for Chuvash, are under the Common Turkic branch. The Ogur Turkic branch comprises the extinct Turkic languages that were spoken in the past. The only language in the Ogur branch that is not extinct is Chuvash, so this language is not really closely related to any of the languages that we'll see in this video. And now let's see the language profile of Chuvash. This language uses the Cyrillic script. It is spoken by around 1.1 million people. As mentioned earlier, it belongs to the Ogur branch. The status of Chuvash is vulnerable. We're leaving Russia and heading south to Iran. Qashqai is the native language of the Qashqai Turks, who inhabit southwest Iran. The Qashqais are traditionally nomadic pastoralists. Although most of them lead a settled lifestyle today, the Qashqais still travel seasonally with their flocks. Today, the Qashqais represent such a significant part of modern-day nomadic culture that the car brand Nissan named its famous SUV Qashqai after them. The Perso-Arabic script is used to write Qashqai. The Qashqai population in Iran is presumed to be around 1 million, which is also the estimated number of Qashqai speakers. It belongs to the Oghuz branch, therefore shares many similarities with Azerbaijani and Turkish. The status of Qashqai is vulnerable. We continue with another Turkic language in Iran, Khorasani Turkic. This language is spoken by the Khorasani Turks, who reside in northeast Iran. Khorasani Turkic is a unique blend of Azerbaijani, Turkish, and Turkmen. Today, it is estimated that there are nearly 1 million Khorasani Turks in Iran. Khorasani Turkic is not widely written, thus it is primarily a spoken language. However, some individuals use the Perso-Arabic script to write this language. It is challenging to determine the exact number of Khorasani Turkic speakers. Out of approximately 1 million Khorasani Turks, it is presumed that between 400 to 800,000 people speak the Khorasani Turkic language. It belongs to the Oghuz branch. Khorasani Turkic is classified as vulnerable. The Karakalpak language is spoken by the Turkic group of Karakalpaks who are native to the Autonomous Republic of Karakalpakstan within the borders of Uzbekistan. Despite living in barren, inhospitable lands for decades, they managed to preserve their identity and create a beautiful culture. Today, the Karakalpaks are one of the poorest groups in Uzbekistan. The Karakalpak language uses the Latin script. The total population of the Karakalpaks is between 500 to 600,000, which also corresponds to the presumed number of Karakalpak speakers. It belongs to the Kıpçak branch and its status is marked as vulnerable. Crimean Tatar is likely the most geographically dispersed Turkic language. It is spoken by the Crimean Tatar people who have endured many hardships in history and have had to immigrate several times to different places. Crimean Tatar should not be confused with the Tatar language that we covered a few minutes ago. Although these two belong to the same Turkic language branch, they are different languages. Today, the Crimean Tatar population is between 600 to 700,000. Groups of Crimean Tatars live quite far apart from each other. The largest group of Crimean Tatars is in Crimea with around 250,000 people. In addition, Uzbekistan has 150 to 200,000 Crimean Tatars. However, a small percentage of them speaks this language since the younger generations have mostly integrated into the Uzbek society. In central Turkey, there are around 100,000 Crimean Tatars, only a few thousand of whom are said to speak the Crimean Tatar language. Despite having relatively large diasporas across various continents, Crimea is considered to be the heart of the Crimean Tatar world. Due to the annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014 and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, the future of the Crimean Tatars seem uncertain and bleak. Crimean Tatar uses the Latin script. It is estimated that this language is spoken by between 400 to 600,000 people in the world. Crimean Tatar belongs to the Kıpçak branch and its status is severely endangered. The Kumuk language is spoken by the Kumuk people, a Turkic group inhabiting the northern Caucasus. After Azerbaijani Turkish, Kumuk is the second most widely spoken Turkic language in the region. Out of over 190 ethnic groups in Russia, the Kumuks have the 11th largest population with 565,000 people. There are also small groups of Kumuks in countries like Turkey, Uzbekistan and Ukraine. However, in total they add up to a few thousand people who are mostly assimilated and do not commonly speak the language. Since 1938, Kumuk has been using the Cyrillic script. According to the 2020 census, 400,000 people speak Kumuk in Russia, which is also roughly the total number of global speakers. Kumuk belongs to the Kıpçak branch and its status is vulnerable. Yakut, also known as Saka, is the native language of the Yakut people, a Turkic group residing in remote Siberian lands of northern Russia. As of 2020, with a population of 478,000, the Yakuts are the 16th largest minority in Russia. Outside Russia, the Yakut population is measured in hundreds, which does not constitute a strong diaspora. Unlike many other large Turkic groups in Russia, the Yakuts do not follow Islam but Russian Orthodoxy and shamanism. Due to their remote location from the rest of the Turkic world, this language has been influenced by Mongolian and Russian. Today, Yakut is also used among other non-Turkic indigenous groups in the region such as Evenks, Evans and Yukagirs as a lingua franca alongside Russian. The Yakut language uses the Cyrillic script. Between 450 to 470,000 people speak Yakut in Russia. It belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch of the Turkic language family. Its status is vulnerable. Karachay-Balkar is a Turkic language spoken in the northern Caucasus region in two republics within Russia, the Republic of Karachay-Cherkessia and the Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria. Karachay-Balkar is spoken by two Turkic groups, the Karachays and the Balkars. These two groups share a similar heritage, culture and language. Therefore, the language they speak is seen as one. According to the 2020 census, the Karachay population in Russia is 226,000 and the Balkar population is 125,000. In addition to Russia, Turkey also has a significant Karachay population which is around 20,000. However, outside these countries there are no large Karachay communities. When it comes to the Balkars, it would be safe to say that pretty much all of the Balkar population in the world resides in Russia. Compared to the other Turkic languages we've covered so far, Karachay-Balkar does not have a strong literary tradition. This language uses the Cyrillic script. I would like to mention that this is the case for all of the Turkic languages in Russia, and except for the Crimean Tatar that is spoken in annexed Crimea, all of them use the Cyrillic script. The total number of Karachay-Balkar speakers is a little more than 274,000. It belongs to the Kipchak branch and its status is vulnerable. Spoken by the Tuvan people in the Republic of Tuva in southern Russia, the Tuvan language is one of the most widely spoken minority languages in the country. The Tuvans, indigenous to Siberia, are the 9th largest Turkic group in Russia. Historically, the Tuvans have been nomads, primarily engaged in animal husbandry and hunting. They are known for their seasonal migration between pastures and living in yurts, a lifestyle also seen among other Turkic people in the region. Almost all Tuvans live in Russia, with a population of 295,000. According to the 2020 census, around 2,300 Tuvans live in Mongolia. It is presumed that a few thousand Tuvans also reside in China. However, despite extensive research, I haven't been able to find any concrete data. The Tuvan language uses the Cyrillic script. In total, around 250,000 people speak Tuvan. It belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch. The status of Tuvan is vulnerable. Urum is perhaps the most interesting language in this video. However, it is not often seen in most Turkic language maps because some people consider it a dialect of Crimean Tatar, while others don't. Urum is spoken by the Urum people, who are Orthodox Greeks primarily residing in the city of Mariupol in Ukraine, or what remains of Mariupol due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. There is also a small Urum-speaking population in the city of Salka in Georgia. Before we move on, I would like to delve a little more into the origins of the Urums. The more common view, accepted by the world and Greek scholars, is that the Urums are descendants of the Greeks who immigrated to Ukraine many centuries ago. They believe that following the Mongol and Tatar invasions, a group of these Greeks adopted the Crimean Tatar language but preserved their Greek heritage. The view supported by Turkish scholars is that the Urums are a Turkic people, descendants of the Crimean Tatars, who adopted the religion and culture of the Greeks in this region, yet preserved their language. Over the years, Urum developed its own characteristics and diverged from mainstream Crimean Tatar. Therefore, today many sources regard Urum as a separate language. Regardless of their background, the Urum people are a unique cultural gem and deserve recognition. I was quite surprised to see that most sources and maps don't even mention this language. Urum uses the Cyrillic script. It is almost impossible to find an approximate range for the total number of Urum people and Urum speakers. The numbers presented on various internet sources vary greatly. The total number of Urum speakers is estimated to be between 3,000 to 180,000. It is presumed that in Ukraine there are around 40,000 Urums, around 3,000 of whom speak the Urum language. In Georgia, the Urum population is said to be a few thousand only. It is quite tricky, to be honest, so for this language I would advise you to take all these numbers with a grain of salt. Sources differ on the branch to which Urum belongs. Some sources say Oğuz, some say Kipchak. Its status is definitely endangered. The Gagavuz language is the native tongue of the Gagavuz people, who are an Orthodox Turkic group primarily living in Moldova's autonomous region of Gagausia. According to 2014 census, there are 126,000 Gagauz people in Moldova, which makes up 4.6% of the country's population. The Gagauz people have a very strong national identity and heritage. 114,000 Gagauz people speak their language in Moldova. In addition to Moldova, a few small pockets in Ukraine that are near the Moldovan border have a Gagauz population around 30,000 people. However, it is assumed that a few thousand of them speak the Gagauz language. Russia also has a Gagauz community, whose number is a little more than 9,200, around 3,000 of whom speak Gagauz. Turkey also has a Gagauz population of 10,000 people, however they mostly consist of the Gagauz people who came to the country to work or study. Gagauz is written in Latin script. Total number of Gagauz speakers is around 150,000. It belongs to the Oğuz branch, therefore shows many similarities with Turkish. The status of Gagauz is definitely endangered. Siberian Tatar is spoken by the Siberian Tatar minority in Russia who reside in the country's central region. According to the 2021 census, there are approximately 7,000 Siberian Tatars in Russia. However, this figure may not accurately represent the Siberian Tatar population. Since many Siberian Tatars are reportedly documented as Tatars and Siberian Tatar speakers are recorded as Tatar speakers, we must speculate by considering various sources. It is estimated that the actual number of Siberian Tatars is close to 200,000. Siberian Tatar uses the Cyrillic script. Around 100,000 people speak this language. It belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch of the Turkic languages. Its status is definitely endangered. Let's leave the cold lands of Siberia and head south to Russia's warmer regions. The Nogai language is spoken by the Nogai people, a Turkic group who are the descendants of the Nogai horde. The Nogai horde was a confederation founded by several Mongol and Turkic tribes between the 15th and 17th centuries near the Caspian Sea. As a result, although the Nogais are a Turkic ethnic group, they also have Mongol roots to some extent. Today, almost all of the Nogai population resides in Russia. According to the 2021 census, there are around 110,000 Nogais in Russia. The Nogai language uses the Cyrillic script. Approximately 85,000 people in Russia speak the Nogai language. It belongs to the Kipchak branch and its status is severely endangered. Now we're taking a quick detour from Russia and heading west to Romania's Black Sea coast. Dobrojan Tatar, also known as Romanian Tatar, is spoken by the Tatar population of Romania. Some sources claim that Dobrojan Tatar is a dialect of Crimean Tatar, but others argue the opposite. To be honest, in this case, I went with my gut and decided to add it as a language to this video because more sources refer to Dobrojan Tatar as a separate language. Here, I would like to mention that the Turkish and Tatar populations of Romania should not be seen as one group. All Romanian censuses and academic sources document Turks and Tatars in Romania separately. Turkish is spoken by the Turks here in the southernmost part of Romania. However, Tatar is spoken a little further north. The population of Romanian Tatars is between 20,000 to 50,000. Dobrojan Tatar uses the Latin script. The total number of its speakers is around 20,000. This language belongs to the Kipchak branch. Its status is severely endangered. Spoken by the Salar people in central China, the Salar language is the fourth most popular Turkic language in China. According to the 2020 census, there are 165,000 Salar people in China, making them the fourth largest Turkic group in the country, following the Kyrgyz people. Today, the Salars are predominantly Muslims, and their main economic activities are farming and husbandry. Both their language and culture have significant Chinese and Tibetan influences. The Salar language does not have a strong written tradition today, so for most of the Salar people, it's a spoken language. However, a small percentage of them use the Latin script as well as the Chinese script. Between 60 to 70,000 people speak Salar in China. It belongs to the Oghuz branch, making it closely related to Turkish and Azerbaijani. The status of this language is vulnerable. Altai is spoken by the Altai Turks in the Altai Republic of Southern Russia. The Altai language has two dialects, Southern Altai and Northern Altai, which are not mutually intelligible. Due to the isolated location of their homeland, the Altai people have successfully preserved their culture, language, and religion against outside influences. Today, a significant population of the Altai people practice shamanism, Buddhism, and Tengrism. A small percentage follows Russian Orthodoxy. Islam never managed to find a place in Altai society. The Altai population in Russia were recorded as 83,000 in 2020. Since the Altai Republic is located at the crossroads of Russia, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia, there are small groups of Altai people in Kazakhstan and Mongolia as well. However, in total, this population is estimated to be only a few thousand. Altai is written in the Cyrillic script. It is spoken by between 50 to 60,000 people. Altai belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch. The status of this language is severely endangered. We're staying in the same region and going a little west from the Altai homeland. The Hakkas language is spoken by the Hakkas people, an indigenous Turkic group who mostly live in the Republic of Khakassia in southern Russia. The Hakkas population in Russia is approximately 61,000. There are also a few hundred Hakkas people in China and Ukraine. Just like the Altai people, the Hakkas people were never influenced by Islam. Today, a large percentage of the Hakkas community follow Russian Orthodoxy. There is also a smaller Hakkas population who practices shamanism. The Hakkas language is written in the Cyrillic script. Around 46,000 people speak this language. Hakkas is a part of the Siberian Turkic branch. The status of this language is definitely endangered. Halaj language is spoken by the Halaj people in the Markazi province of western Iran. Arguably, the Halaj people are the smallest Turkic group in Iran. Their population is presumed to be around 40,000 to 50,000. Due to their small population, the Halaj have been largely assimilated into the Iranian society, however they managed to protect their language until this day. The Halaj people are predominantly Muslims. They mostly engage with animal husbandry. Halaj is mostly a spoken language and does not have a strong literary tradition. However, when it's written, both Latin and Arabic scripts are used. It is estimated that no more than 20,000 people speak this language today. Halaj belongs to the Argu branch of the Turkic language family. Argu language branch has one surviving language only, and it's Halaj. In addition, this branch has the smallest number of speakers among all Turkic branches. The status of Halaj is vulnerable. I was unsure whether to include Ainu in this video, but let's do it. Ainu is a Turkic language spoken by the Ainu people in western China on the edge of the Taklamakan Desert. Before we continue, we need to clarify some mixed information about this language and the Ainu people. The origins of the Ainu people are disputed. Some argue that they're of Turkic origin, while others assert that they're of Iranic origin. However, the Turkic origin is more widely accepted. Today, they are not recognized as a separate group by the Chinese government and are counted as Uyghurs. Consequently, there is no solid data on the number of Ainu people. The estimated population of Ainu people in China ranges between 30 to 50,000. Almost all Ainus are trilingual, speaking Ainu, Uyghur, and Mandarin. Ainu is heavily influenced by Persian. This language has Turkic grammar, but predominantly Persian vocabulary. Some scholars view the Ainu language as a cryptolect. A cryptolect is a jargon or language of a group often used to exclude or mislead people outside the group. Some sources mention that the Ainu people speak this language when they wish to exclude outsiders and maintain secretive conversations. Today, Ainu uses the Arabic script. In total, around 6,000 people speak this language. It belongs to the Karluk branch of the Turkic languages. Its status is critically endangered. Western Uyghur is spoken by the Uyghur people in the Sunan Uyghur Autonomous County in China's Gansu province. Western Uyghur should not be confused with the Uyghur language, another Turkic language in China, nor should the Uyghur people be confused with the Uyghurs, another Turkic ethnic minority in China. According to the 2020 census, the Uyghur population in China is 14,300, making them one of the least populous minorities in the country. Western Uyghur has been isolated from the rest of the Turkic world for nearly 6 centuries. It serves almost as a border language between the other Turkic languages, Mandarin, Mongolian, and Tibetan. Although Western Uyghur has preserved several archaic features from Old Turkic, it has also been significantly influenced by Mandarin, Mongolian, and Tibetan. Today, the Uyghurs are primarily engaged in animal husbandry and farming. They predominantly follow Tibetan Buddhism. Western Uyghur uses the Latin script. Approximately 4,600 to 5,000 people speak this language. Western Uyghur belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch. Its status is severely endangered. Shor is spoken by the Shor people primarily in Russia's Kemerovo Oblast and the Republic of Khakassia. As of 2020, the Shor population is 10,500. The Shors have a unique background. Despite being considered among the Turkic people in Russia, the Shors emerged centuries ago as a result of the mixing of Turkic people with different groups in the region, such as the Kets, Samoyeds, and Ugrians. Today, a considerable number of the Shors follow Christianity, and some Shors follow Tengrism. The Shor language is an interesting amalgam of Turkic, Mongolian, and Russian. The region where the Shors historically lived was under Mongol rule for some periods during the medieval years. This resulted in Shor borrowing many words from the Mongolian language. Also, since the 19th century, Russian has greatly influenced Shor. Shor is written in the Cyrillic script. Around 2,900 people speak Shor. It belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch and is categorized as severely endangered. Dolgan is the northernmost spoken Turkic language. It is spoken in the central part of Russia by the Dolgan people, whose population was recorded as 8,157 in the 2020 census. For years, Dolgan was considered to be a dialect of Yakut, which we covered a few minutes ago. Despite having many similarities and common points with Yakut, Dolgan has had a lot of influence from Russian and Evenki, which is a Tungustic language spoken in the same region. This influence might explain why, in contemporary times, Dolgan is recognized as a separate language rather than a Yakut dialect. There are different opinions about the origins of the Dolgans, however, it is more commonly accepted that they are Turkic people. Until the Soviet era, the Dolgans followed a nomadic lifestyle. Just like many other indigenous peoples of Siberia, their livelihood consisted of reindeer husbandry, fishing, hunting, and fur farming. Dolgan is written in the Cyrillic script. Approximately 1,000 people speak this language. It belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch. The status of Dolgan is definitely endangered. Krimchak is spoken by the Krimchak people, a Jewish group primarily living in Israel and Crimea. There are around 2,000 Krimchaks in the world. Approximately 1,200 Krimchaks live in Israel, and 800 to 900 of them reside in Crimea. Although the Krimchak community is larger in Israel, the Krimchak language is not widely spoken by the Israeli Krimchak people. Most Krimchak speakers are in Crimea. Presumably, this Jewish group lived alongside the Crimean Tatars for centuries and ended up adopting their Turkic speech. Some sources regard Krimchak as a dialect of Crimean Tatar, however, the more commonly accepted view asserts that it began as a Crimean Tatar dialect and then developed into a separate language. The Krimchak language uses the Cyrillic script. Although it is challenging to find information on this, it will be safe to say that between 100 to 200 people speak this language today. Krimchak belongs to the Kipchak branch and its status is critically endangered. Karaim is spoken by the Karait people, a group of Crimean Tatars who follow Karait Judaism. They have been living in several different parts of Eastern Europe for centuries, primarily in Lithuania and Ukraine. Today, the Karait population is estimated to be around 2,000. Karaim has three dialects: the Crimean dialect spoken in Crimea, the Trakai-Vilnius dialect spoken in Lithuania, and Lutz-Halish dialect spoken in Ukraine. The Crimean and Lutz-Halish dialects of Karaim are considered to be almost extinct. Since Crimea was annexed by Russia in 2014, this region was also added to the Russian population census in 2021. According to the results, there are 500 Karait people and 45 Karaim speakers in Crimea. The second most significant Karaim-speaking community is in the town of Trakai in Lithuania. The 2021 Lithuanian population census shows that there are 192 Karaits in Lithuania. It is presumed that the number of Karaim speakers is between 20 to 40 in Lithuania. Although the Hebrew script was commonly used in the past, today the situation is different. The Karaims in Lithuania use the Latin script, and those in Ukraine use the Cyrillic script. The total number of Karaim speakers is around 80. This language belongs to the Kipchak branch. The status of Karaim is critically endangered. Ili Turki is spoken by the Ili Turks, who reside in the Ili Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture in western China. The Ili Turks are not recognized as a separate ethnic group in China, but as Uyghurs. Regrettably, we do not have extensive sources about this language and people. Today, there are around 30 Ili Turk families with a population of approximately 120 people. Ili Turki uses the Latin script, although it is almost exclusively a spoken language. The number of Ili Turki speakers is unknown, so I'm unable to provide an estimate. However, a rough guess would be a few dozen speakers. Ili Turki belongs to the Karluk branch. Its status is critically endangered. Tofa, also known as Tofalar, is spoken by the Tofa people, who inhabit 3 remote villages in Russia's Irkutsk Oblast. Just like the Dolgan language we mentioned earlier, Tofa is an interesting amalgam of Turkic, Russian, and Mongolian. Despite being a Turkic language, this soon-to-be extinct tongue has had a lot of influence from Mongolian and Russian. In the medieval ages, the Tofa people had a lot of contact with the Mongols, which resulted in this language borrowing hundreds of loanwords from medieval Mongolian. In addition, Tofa has many loanwords from Russian as well. Similar to almost all of the Turkic groups in the region, the Tofas are traditionally nomads and they have been engaging in reindeer husbandry, hunting, and fishing for centuries. Today, Tofa is spoken mostly by the elders of the Tofa community. The younger generation speaks Russian and does not learn their native language. Tofa uses Cyrillic letters. The total number of Tofa speakers is between 9 to 30. It is a part of the Siberian Turkic branch. The status of this language is critically endangered. Chulum, also known as Öztili, is spoken by the Chulum people. The Chulums are a Turkic people who inhabit central Russia. Chulum is considered to be the most endangered of all Turkic languages. Additionally, the Chulum people have one of the smallest populations among Turkic people. According to the 2021 population census results in Russia, there are 382 Chulums and only 47 of them speak the Chulum language. However, some linguists claim that only a dozen people out of those 47 are actually fluent at a native level. It seems unlikely that Chulum will survive this century. Linguists predict that by the late 2030s, Chulum will possibly become extinct. Chulum is written in the Cyrillic script. In total, 47 people speak this language. Chulum belongs to the Siberian Turkic branch and its status is critically endangered. However, some scholars already consider this language as extinct.